Hello, this is Dave at AFX Search Licensed Investigators. Many times an investigation in this day and age gets into electronic records or electronically stored information. One of the most common versions of ESI are email records. And when emails are provided to you by an opposing counsel or by an opposing party in a lawsuit, or if they're provided by a party that's being investigated directly, one of the things that's important is to verify that the emails are correct as they're being represented to you, and whether or not they come to you from discovery, or if they're obtained some other method. You want to make sure that the emails are legitimate. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to match up what we have with a third-party reference. For example, if you have a list of emails which somebody says to you, these are all the emails I sent during this time period, and they're accurate in terms of their content, you can go back and spot check some of the recipients. Contact some of the recipients of these emails and see if the inbox records of the emails match up what was given to you by the subject. You can also match up the date and time to see if those were changed. More importantly, match up the content to see if there was any alteration of the emails that were provided to you. If they don't match up what the other side had, then you know that there's some alteration, and it would stand to reason that there's more inaccuracies in what you were giving. You can also match up attached files. If there was an attached file that was sent, you can see if the attached file received by the other end of that email is the same. Remember, every email has at least two parties involved with that message, a sender and a receiver. And if you want to verify if what you're getting is correct, check the other end of that file. There may be other parties of that email that were either carbon copy or BCC recipients of that message. Beyond that, if you have the ability to do this, the ISP who transferred the email either from the sender or the receiver may have a copy of those messages that can be discovered through a court subpoena. If there are differentiations between one end and another, that could indicate bad faith. It could also indicate that other records have been omitted. So you want to see if there's an error in one spot. You can go further to see if there's other records that have been deleted or altered. Go ahead and spot check the header info on those messages as well. That's a common area where somebody trying to commit fraud or do something dishonest will overlook when they're altering a message. They may change the date and time on the message itself, but in that header information, they may not change the date and time, especially if it's a forwarded message. A forwarded message, usually within the message body, will have some header information from the prior messages. So if you see a message that has been changed or has been provided to you, you can go back through some of those prior emails to see if those dates and times match up all the way through the thread of that message. And on forwarded messages, again, you want to see if the text is changed. A lot of times a person will change the text of an email but won't go back and change all that text in all the forwarded versions of it down the line of the historical record of that email. So email is a great method to document communications and activity. At this day and age, more of the communications between one party and another either are completely within email or there's an element of it within email records, and every single one of those messages creates a permanent history somewhere. And if it's not with the subject you're investigating, it may be with a third party or a recipient or somebody included on a chain of emails. Worst case scenario, they're maintained somewhere on an ISP or even a corporate server. Corporate servers are a great source of getting messages because most companies have a very specific backup requirement program. So they have to back up their servers, back up their computers on a regular basis. Even if the official policy of the company is to back up records for, let's say, 90 days or 120 days, you may find that there's a longer history available because those records are back up onto tape, and those tapes are recycled. So if the tape for this 60-day time period is over, they may pull that tape out of the backup server, but they're going to put that tape physically somewhere, maybe on a shelf. The tape is not destroyed. They recycle these tapes, and that tape may sit there for another 6 months or a year before it's used again because they have an inventory of backup tapes that they're using. So go ahead and check with the IT department to see exactly physically what happens to the tapes. Not what their official policy is on backup and retention, but exactly what happens to the tapes and to the backup servers, because you may find a lot of information that technically even the party themselves may not know is available. So email records are a great source of info. Check the attached files, check the headers, make sure everything matches up, and you're going to find in almost every case there's valuable information for the investigation.